Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Walk With Them podcast. It's a new season. We're on season 4, and that's really exciting. We've had a really great podcasting journey so far with lots of amazing guests. But to kick off this new season, it's just going to be me and Nesu today. Nesu is our youth and culture specialist, and I'm the digital leader at Urban Saints. And we're just going to have a little bit of a short episode to catch you up on some of our favorite things, what we're looking forward to, and things like that. So, yeah, Nessie, let's get into it. What's your highlight from season 3 been?
My highlight from season three, yeah, I think okay, so we've had a couple of episodes, we've had a couple of guests that have come on and shared their expertise and their perspective. We have people from different kind of vantage points as it pertains to youth work and the landscape in youth ministry. So that's always helpful. But I think I'm looking back at the episode that we had with Bob Goody, who's the CEO of Rural Missions, right at the beginning actually of season three.
Mm.
And that was so illuminative. There are certain things that were just closed off to me, blind spots, if you like, that I just wasn't able to appreciate a couple of different things. Just looking at the difference between urban and rural context, there are things that are similar. Young people are people at the end of the day, and people have similar needs. Fundamentally, there's always that saying that, if you cut us all, through the skin or whatever, through your hand, we all bleed the same kind of thing. So fundamentally, yes, we have the same kind of needs, but there are peculiarities and contextual differences that make a difference so far as mission is concerned. And I remember him talking about sort of the metrics for trying to evaluate the success of a ministry or the success of a youth group or the success of youth work. Because in certain churches, in certain regions within the rural context, if you have, 5, 6 young people coming, that could be, the entire sort of youth demographic or a substantial part thereof. You know what I mean? Whereas in an urban context, you might think, oh, okay, I wonder how we could ensure that our youth group is reaching out to as many young people as possible. That might be a point of growth, but in the rural context, that might be doing very well. You're reaching the young people, as it were, of that rural landscape. So that was good, but also there was another yes, I remember watching and listening back to you and Anna and Wayne Dixon on
Yeah.
the schools episode, which was really good. And I think it was very practical, very, very practical. His perspective on how we approach schools and how we forge those relationships and how we posture ourselves as youth workers to be able to give us the best possible chance of serving schools and getting in the door to make sure that we can make a difference was just very instructive in such a helpful way. These are things
Mm.
that sometimes people are just not aware of, you know what I mean, in terms of how we approach schools and forge those relationships. So those would be my highlights from season three. Of course, there were so many other great conversations that were in there, and I enjoyed, all of them. But those are the things that kind of stick out to me just looking back. Yeah, what about you? What was season three like?
Yeah, the the ones that were my favorite, I think, just like you said, with the our episode with Bob Goody from Rural Missions, I too think that was a really educational episode. It was definitely one where we learnt a lot. And I think that's the great thing about the podcast. Like, we're able to pick up so much gems from, different contexts, things that are unfamiliar to us. We get people that can kind of break those down and share the differences that they're making within the community and things like that. So I really enjoyed that episode and I definitely went away and learned a lot. But another favorite of mine was one that we filmed with John Proctor, who wrote the novel Hikaru, a graphic novel. And I think that was an example of just how creativity and youth ministry goes hand in hand. It's just great to see someone who had an idea, they went out to develop it, and it's now like a physical material and just what that looks like. And yeah, just someone from a creative background myself, like I really appreciated that and just seeing how you can contribute to ministry by using your gifts and talents. So that was a really good episode. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. So definitely those two.
Yeah, even as you were speaking, I was thinking about our last episode actually as well. in terms of the one we did with Naomi from
Hmm.
Open Doors Youth was really, really. I think it's insightful for young people to be able to be exposed to another dimension of Christianity. That's
Yeah.
something that, even from a global church perspective, it's good to be able to appreciate the different contexts that Christianity is lived out in. And
Hmm.
for her to be able to say to us, hey, do you know, and for us to be encouraged to tell young people, do you know that your Christian experience in the Western world, in the Western world, is very different sometimes to how people will live out, young people live out their faith. Some of them
Yeah.
are facing war and extreme persecution for their faith, and it looks completely different. So that affects even the way our theology plays out in our context. So that was good. But I
Hmm.
have a question for you in terms of what are you excited about right now in your youth work, in the work that you do? What are you excited about right now in the youth work context, in the work that you do?
Yeah, well, I would say recently, very recent actually, I did a training in one of the churches in Manchester, meeting with a few le youth leaders there and talking to them about digital ministry. As obviously that's my role at Urban Saints, and I just think the excitement and the willingness that youth leaders are having to step into online spaces, they're beginning to really recognize the importance of digital ministry and how, the internet plays such a huge part in young people's lives. It's an everyday thing. And so they're seeing the need to step out, to share their experiences of their youth group to kind of get more young people excited and involved within their community. So I think that's something that's really exciting, seeing people's confidence and willingness to grow. And yeah, just being able to help them to do that. I think the training that I did, it was a presentation called Faith in the Feed. And I think it was really encouraging for them and just for them to be able to see, proof and practical examples of what works and how they can engage young people online. So I think that's something that's really exciting to look forward to see how these youth leaders progress in their efforts, and to just see what growth evolves from the work that they're trying to do. So yeah, that's mine. Yeah. How about you? What's been
Exciting.
what's been exciting? What's been new? I know you're a keen researcher, so is there anything that's, cropped up that's really got you thinking and excited?
You know what? I think for me, the thing that is foremost in my mind right now is I like the fact, and I have to try and communicate this in the best way, but really, I like the fact that some of the stuff that's happening within society, the polarizing stuff, the
Yeah.
political stuff, is really coming to the fore because it's almost forcing young people to engage and to be able to
Mhm.
appreciate that they have a role to play within society. That our faith is not just the news is the news, the politics is the politics, and hey, we'll pray and let God deal with it, but we'll get busy with other things because politics is not our field, it's not our gamut.
Mhm.
I'm seeing there's almost it's almost bubbling within the community, youth work community across the landscape that people are and youth work practitioners and youth workers are starting to see the need to get young people involved in issues of politics, in issues of justice in a new way. And really putting their foot in it and saying, actually, we have a role to play. We need to become more vocal. We sorry, got a cough there, but we need to become more um um yeah, we need to become more intentional about the role that we play within society and the difference we can make as young people. That's really exciting for me because I want to see the next generation equipped, informed, and inspired to make a difference
Mhm.
where it matters. And I'm not saying other places don't matter, but if we don't get involved in the political sphere, in the justice endeavors that we could be, then we're just going to be people who are spectators and never play a role
Yeah.
in changing society. So I wrote a recent article. You can check it out. It's on Premier Next Gen. On I think it's 5 good ways young people can become good citizens or something along those lines. So yeah, that was exciting to write about. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think with this generation, there's a real boldness there. They're not willing to be maybe like as passive as previous generations were. They're not just
Mm.
going to let things happen to them. So I think it's a good point about, them really stepping up and taking responsibility and like getting involved in things. So yeah, it's a really interesting climate to be in, politically and culturally. So that's a good point. Well, that's the kind our kind of short and sweet episode, I would say, for this beginning of this season. But we would love to know what your favorite episode has been. Who has been a guest that's really inspired you, that's really changed your perspective on a topic. Yeah, we'd love to know. We're excited for our upcoming episodes. We're going to have many more guests from different contexts. And youth ministries. So that's definitely something that you can look forward to. And yeah, we just encourage you to share this podcast, share the episode that's impacted you and made a difference, or something that you've got advice from and you've implemented that and seen a change. We'd love to hear these stories and hear your experiences about what it's been like to be a youth leader in this time. And yeah, we're just excited to continue this journey with you, really.
Yeah, well, that's it from us. Please stay tuned. We do have more guests and some amazing conversations lined up for you to listen to, tune into, and be inspired by in season four in this season. So, yeah, please do keep up with us. And yeah, we continue to walk with you. So, hey, that's it from us, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye.
Bye.